Welcome to the woods. Quite a beautiful day considering the amount of rain we had last night. And I say a beautiful day, I'm talking about the weather. Not what I've been doing since 8:30 this morning, which is feeding livestock, clearing out the duck sheds. Never a nice job. But something you've got to keep on top of. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today is keeping on top of things. Because it would seem that in the last few weeks we may have cause for celebration. I mentioned in my last video that there was already too many of us for them to deal with. That what they'd been pushing for the last 2 years was going to start to falter as more and more people begin to see that they'd been lied to. And that looks like what's going on at the moment. Joe Rogan's interview with Dr. Malone, or the ex-CEO of Pfizer, reaching nearly 60 million viewers. Mainstream media, papers in Holland and Germany printing apologies to the general public for not looking further into what was going on for the last 2 years. GB News in this country interviewing the scientist who invented the mRNA vaccines. And all of them opposing the narrative that we've been fed for nearly 2 years. Now, this may very well be the media covering their own arse. They may well be aware that the numbers of people who are questioning what's been going on is growing. So now they'll try and blame governments and organisations, when in reality they jointly share this blame. They've been in lockstep with these organisations and governments since day one. For nearly 2 years they've filled the populations, or tried to fill the populations, with terror, to scare them into receiving medication, to downloading apps. And they've been successful. People were scared. But not quite so much anymore. You see, little by little, the truth finds a way to reach the ears of those willing to listen. And it's been a long 2 years, but that truth is getting out there. And more people are questioning what they've been told. And I think the media understand this. And slowly, they're turning. And I think over the next 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to see more. And more articles coming out, and more interviews being aired that question what went on and why it went on. But it's important that we understand that the media will turn on a dime. And if it's in their interest to lie again, they will. So they cannot be trusted. They certainly cannot be trusted more than the governments and the organisations that have foisted this shit show upon us. Excuse my French. We've been victorious in gaining ground. We haven't even won this battle. It does seem as if it's tailing off where I live in the UK, but Australia has just got stricter. New Zealand, Canada, Austria, Italy. These places still have draconian measures in place. So it's not getting better everywhere. But there is a fracturing. And the major problem for the people that wanted this is that if it falls in one place, it can be seen by everybody else. Which is why it was important, and why it still is important, to hold the line, to not give in to the pressure. And that's working. And we've gained ground. But it's not over. 29, actually nearer 30 million people in the UK downloaded the NHS app. 30 million. Half the population. Over half the adult population. And it was that app that allowed you to get into a pub or a restaurant or a nightclub. And as much as I haven't seen that being used that often, it's still out there. And if this whole thing's been used as a test run to see how compliant populations can be, they've now got all the data they need. Now, some of us for a long time have been saying that this was nothing about public health, that this was about digital IDs, and the reason they wanted you to have that digital ID was because they're going to need to control the masses. The old way of doing things is falling away. I think most of us understand that the whole financial institution that we understood from the past shortly won't be with us. That cash, although that's going to be a hard one for them to eradicate overnight, is going to be gone. And some of these things we're going to have to face, because the battle we've just fought is only one in a very, very long line that we're going to have to fight. And there's no point winning one or gaining ground and then sitting back and relaxing, because their end goal is still exactly the same. And like I've said, if this was done merely to gain data, if this was a reconnaissance mission, they have lost nothing. They've now got all the information they need to move forward and put into place what it is they want. So raise a glass, give ourselves a pat on the back for gaining ground, but don't rest. Never forget who was involved in pushing this. Don't let the media get away with it. Don't trust them. Talk to people. The more that wake up, the more is on our side. A lot of people have been conned, and they were conned. But it's much harder to con a man a second time when he knows you've conned him once. And it's our job to hammer that home. Because I think as the media start to question the narrative, more people will become aware. And they'll be looking for answers. Make sure it's not just the mainstream media they're getting those answers from. It's going to be a long haul, this. There's no way they're giving up or backing down. It's not only time, effort and money they've put into this. Their whole worldview, their whole structure, their whole reason for being hinges on moving forward to their end goal. Keep pushing the truth. Tell everyone you can. And make it so much more difficult for the next big lie that comes along. So here's the little victories. And here's to winning the war. I'll speak to you later, people. Take it easy.